Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and welcome to the infotainment review on the 2023 BMW iX. In this video, we're going to go through what it's like using iDrive 8 here in the new 2023 systems. I guess a good amount of 2022 cars are getting this system as well. Show you how to use your main functionality and kind of talk about what it's been like living with the car from an infotainment perspective. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. The all-new model for BMW 2023 iX. It's entirely electric and entirely a large-looking, but technically I would almost put it in compact crossover size. It's been pretty nice living with it. It's actually quite nice. There's really nothing you can complain about with it. A little bit strange looking, but you kind of appreciate that it at least looks different from all the other crossovers on the road. If you do want to see more on the car, check the links in the description. We've got a DM test drive, a sound system review of the Bowers and Wilkins system, a highway range test, all sorts of goodies. This is the M60 model, meaning you're getting all the bells and whistles and a really incredible amount of performance. This thing truly is special. Get it woken back up here. There's no real way to... There we go. You can put the car in sort of a diagnostic on mode here. You can see our big digital gauge cluster showing you our gauges. A few of those things are customizable, but some of the controls are different from previous BMWs. No longer do you have a BC button here to toggle through your modes. You sort of have to do more things with the wheel and press this menu button. You can adjust what content is in the center of the screen. Sort of an interesting departure for BMW to get away from that. Then you can go over and actually change your layouts should you want things to look a little bit different. Not too dramatic, but there are differences there. You can also adjust things for your head-up display, kind of how much content is in there as well. Then getting over to the center screen. BMW fortunately has stuck with a setup where you can either use a rotary knob right here. In this iX, it's a nice crystal knob, works nicely. And then you sort of have capacitive touch buttons in here that function for some of your navigational, not like navigation, but navigational type buttons, and then your volume knob as well. But you can reach up and touch it, both while you're static and while you're driving. So you can scroll through your home menu here. You kind of get these tiles. That is your home screen. You see your navigation, media and radio, telephone, personal assistant, kind of your main things that you do use regularly. And if there's something else you'd like to use, you can click Add Widget. And maybe you want a funky clock that tells you that when it loads, apparently it's very difficult for it to get the time. It is 25 past 9. So if you find that easier to glance at than simply looking down here or up there and getting your digital clock, then that is an option. If you need even more, you go up here to menu, and you've got really an overwhelming number of things, but if you owned the car, you'd be able to see and kind of get used to where more of these things are. I keep saying things, they're tiles, they're applications, or menus, if you will, things like seat comfort. You can go in there and adjust your seating position, massaging, those sort of things. You can go in there and make adjustments for seat position saving, massage, various functionalities, your seat climate control as well. Oh gosh, that actually brought us up to the climate control menu, which you can see is a little overwhelming. We'll just get right into that now. When it's on, you have steering wheel heat, seat heat. I think that's seat cooling. What is this? This is like a blowing on your knees heat or something like that. Then you have fan speed and then what way your fans are blowing. Then you scroll over to the side and you have those same adjustments but for the passenger. No physical climate controls other than rear and front defrost. So really the easiest thing to do is just leave it on auto and set it for your temp right here and let it be. But that is your climate control. Whoops. Did that turn on? No, it didn't. Okay, good. Back to the menu screen. Various other things. You can see status of your vehicle, things like efficiency and trip computer, adaptive content. What does that do? Maybe it just kind of, as you're driving around, tells you important things, perhaps. Trip data, tire pressures, that sort of deal. Then you have a whole bunch of system settings. It's the date and time, units, your sound controls. If you want to see more details on that, check the link in the description for our sound system review. Gesture control, so you can actually play and pause music and adjust volume just by moving your hand around. Kind of not too easy for me to show with the camera going in the middle, but it is kind of silly, but it is possible. Various ambient lighting controls, various apps that you can install, charging options, which I should kind of go through quick. You can sort of choose departure times, preconditioning for climate control. You can set when you want the vehicle to charge, if you want to charge off peak. You can adjust its limit, which I find is important. Sometimes you have a charger that maybe can't charge at over a certain amperage, so you want to be able to adjust that, so that's good. Glad that you have that functionality. Charging target, so if you want to leave that at about 90 or 95 or maybe even 80% for long-term battery health. Fan loudness. Oh, that's interesting for cooling the battery off. Restricted and unrestricted. Maybe so if you're in an area that you need to be quiet, maybe you're camping or something like that, you can restrict the battery cooling fan while it's charging. That's kind of cool. I've never seen something like that. What else do we have? News. Then you start to get into a lot of your apps that are in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto if you're connected to that. Some of these features are only available with a BMW ID, which we do not have. You have the digital key option, so you can actually use your phone as a key, and that's nice. Drive recorder, I think that's something that's pretty good. You can have an SD card in there and actually use essentially a dash cam, which is good. Interior camera, there's a camera right here, but again, we can't view it, unfortunately, without a BMW ID, but I don't know what the point of that is. It's interesting. Personal hotspot, a lot of cars have that these days. Uneven road surface. Service warns of uneven road surface. If your vehicle is equipped with a head-up display, you can select where the route warnings will be displayed in the display settings. I guess it'll warn you if you've got some potholes coming up, so that's interesting. Adjustments for your displays. You can adjust the brightness, kind of what shows up in there. Content, that's nice. Driving settings, various things. Lane departure warning. You can adjust whether the car makes sounds while you're driving or not. And those sounds actually were engineered by Hans Zimmer, the famous audio recorder and mixer and producer. So those sound pretty cool. More charging settings. All the settings you could possibly want in here. Let's head to the media screen. You got your various inputs. Like I said, if you do want to see more on those, check the link in the description for our sound system review. And then your phone screen. If you press telephone down here, it'll actually take you to Android or Apple CarPlay as we have that plugged in. Let's go to weather. Let's see what that brings up. Nice little weather forecast. Kind of shows you what's going on and what's going to be going on over the next few days. You can change locations as well, so that's nice to have. Current location, destination built in, or choose a different destination, or a different location rather. Let's go to the map. Obviously a nice big map. You can pinch to zoom, put in various destinations. Fairly responsive, fairly straightforward to use, and you also have kind of a cool map built into the gauge cluster here too, so you can sort of see the roads that are in front of you. Pretty nice. Anything else of note in here? You do have a personal assistant that you can ask to change the temperature or set navigation. Those are pretty commonplace these days. Haven't used it too much. But let's go over to Apple CarPlay. You can see it takes up the whole widescreen. Looks really nice. Got my Google Maps right in there. Media screen on the right. Some navigation things on the top. Let's go full screen Google Maps. Again, decently responsive. You can put in addresses pretty easily. Let's go to Amazon Music, taking up the whole screen. I go over to my library, playlists, start playing one of the members only tracks here. Takes up the whole screen, and then if you were to go home, you can see it in the bottom right. There's your dialer. And there is settings. All right, I actually don't have my Android device on me right now. I lent it to Chris so he can review the Q3 system, but it would work pretty straightforward. So there it is, iDrive 8 and the BMW iX. Overall, there is a learning curve, but it works similar enough to the previous iDrive systems that I still enjoy using it. I really like being able to do the rotary knob and the touchscreen because there are different times, whether I'm driving or sitting or what I'm doing in the screen, where it's better to use either or. Very nice to use, good resolution, good responsiveness, probably one of the top infotainment systems on the market here today. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the iX, check the links in the description for all of our videos, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.